Sunday morning here on YouTube. We're live. Welcome to the Rich Lieberman Media Pulse. I talked about the Friday night pathetic, almost unbelievable, semi-shocking Larry Baer, Giants, John Miller Friday night broadcast that I called a desecration, just a complete, utter disconnect, a an abuse of the airwaves, so to speak. And I still can't believe it to this day. Here it is Sunday morning, and I talked to various people. Some of them made contact with me, and these are broadcast people, professional broadcast people, right? These are people who work in the sports industry in the Bay Area. Now, they told me some stuff. They gave their own opinion because they thought what I thought was especially egregious. Now, they didn't want to go public because they have relationships, so to speak, with a lot of media folks, including KNBR. But they did tell me, I talked to various people, and two of these individuals, with what they told me, stood out in my mind, enough of which allowed me to continue this discussion because several of you were also outraged. Some of you said it was nothing of a shock, but that nonetheless, what you heard was really disturbing in a broadcast sense. And it was. And I continue again to shake my head. Those of you who are new in on this Friday night, last Friday night, during the Giants Pittsburgh Pirates broadcast on radio, and I'm finding out now, thank you folks, thank you readers, that what happened, what in my opinion was a travesty, also took place on television. And that is Larry Baer came on both radio, KNBR, and broadcast NBC Sports Bay Area to essentially do an advertisement. It was masked as a tribute to his alma mater, Cal, which was performing the Cal band Friday night at the baseball park, Oracle Park, when the Giants were playing Pittsburgh. But Baer took part in an ad. He was touting the Giants' big-time development in beyond the right field stands of Oracle Park. That's where that big building is, which is the Visa headquarters building. It's the Mission Rock development. It's a real estate deal that the Giants have been building and planning for now over a decade. And they had an opening to the park, and basically it's a development with high rises, small high rises, shops, residences where people can live and all that. It's not cheap. But that isn't the point here. Baer came on with John Miller's complicity and basically took over an inning to tout the real estate want, to talk about all the great views, and Miller's there talking same. Meanwhile, there's a baseball game going on. A baseball game. And these guys are talking, and Miller is discussing how beautiful it is. Now he got a tour of this development on Friday or the other day. Sorry, not Friday. Friday was the broadcast. And on and on and on they go. Now, if you're listening to this crap, you're like, what the hell am I listening to? Am I listening to a baseball game, or am I listening to an advertisement? And it went on and on and on. Baer, in fact, when the inning was over, did not leave yet. He continued to talk about it. And in fact, in the ensuing half inning, they missed the first 5 pitches. I would soon find out via you guys that Baer was on television doing the same thing. Now, I got to tell you this. And some of you said, well, we're used to this. They have this whatever islands. I'm not going to say the whole deal. in the middle of the San Joaquin Valley that Marty Lurie talks about on his show. And that's just it. It's a show. It's a pregame show and it's on the weekend. And look, I'm not crazy about that either, but at least it's not at the top in the middle of a broadcast, a Major League Baseball broadcast. And who is at the forefront of it beyond Larry Baer? John Miller. John Miller, Hall of Fame broadcaster. John Miller on radio. Kruk and Kuip, that's their MO. I don't care really anymore. The fact that it's on television, these guys work for the Giants. So, whatever. I'm used to that. John Miller has been compared to, in the same breath, of an Ernie Harwell, of a Vin Scully, of a Lon Simmons. Continue on. Red Barber, dare I say. And I want to say something about John Miller. I respect John Miller. I'm not crazy about some of the things that he does and talks. I think he was far superior a few years back, but I respect him. He has the nuances of the game down. He's got a very great set of pipes, and he's lucid, and he tells funny stories, sometimes a bit too much for me, but he's a Hall of Fame broadcaster. I respect that. So for him to take part in this and not to say, Larry Baer, Mr. Baer, with all due respect, you can't do this on this broadcast. Miller should not even been put in a position to where he did what he did and talked firsthand about how he got a tour of the new development and how he was up and that he was in a jacuzzi and how beautiful it was. And meanwhile, again, there's a game going on, folks, a baseball game. Should never have happened. It was ridiculous. Talk about not getting it. Larry Baer, you want to know why? A couple of big-time sponsors pulled out, not because of this. A major auto body company and a major bank pulled its ads from Giants baseball broadcasts on the radio. You want to talk about bad timing and a cheapening of your own broadcast, a cheapening of the own account of a game involving your team, Larry Baer. The team you spent hundreds of millions of dollars with, a new manager, new coaches, new players. And this is what you do. You do an ad, and it was an ad. That's what it was. Right in the middle of a game, no less. And these people that I spoke to, who have no, as they say, dog in the fight, who have no connection to the Giants, and they're not in a position nor want to criticize, although they did criticize, they told me that I was right. It's not a right or a wrong here. It's timing. And they told me that they agreed. How could Miller, they argued too, how could Miller take part in this? Okay, he also works for the Giants. He's an employee of the San Francisco Giants. But a guy, a broadcaster, a major league broadcaster of Miller's reputation, to allow this to take place, to describe the fact that there's a jacuzzi and there's residences, why don't you put out a phone number and say, we'll give you financing too? It was just preposterous. It really was. And these individuals who I spoke to agreed. Had they not agreed, I still would have brought it up because they thought it was, at the very, very least, unprofessional. You don't do that. You cheapen your own broadcast, a Major League Baseball broadcast involving one of the most heralded franchises, not just in baseball, the San Francisco Giants, who evolved out of New York, the franchise with the most wins in all of baseball. Larry Baer taking part in this travesty. No wonder KNBR's ratings are in the toilet. There's other things, but this should never have happened, folks. And in fact, folks, to go further, a real program director, not the symbolic Joe or Copes currently involving in that position, would have said something to Baer, would have said, Larry, with all due respect, this shouldn't be taking place. This is a Major League Baseball broadcast. It doesn't sound right. It wouldn't sound good. It would be a cheapening of the product. We can't have you do this. Maybe you do it on a pregame show. Maybe you do it before the game. Maybe there is some kind of a KNBR talk show host that has you on for a few minutes and you talk about this, but you do it, and you simultaneously do it on television. But let's keep it to radio. I only heard the radio. I can only imagine what it sounded like on television. Anyway, folks, this was a travesty. It really was. Is it the end of the world? No. Are we all going to lose sleep over it? Certainly not. But I bring this out again. And a lot of you agreed with me. Even if you don't agree with me, what are you going to say? Oh, it was perfectly fine. Really? What if there had been a home run that was hit and they missed it? They missed a batter. They came back. They left fellow broadcaster Dave Fleming lurking. I know he wasn't happy. How do I know that? Because people told me. But he's not going to say anything. He too works for the Giants. But at least he wasn't on the air. John Miller was. And John Miller, you're bigger than that. The Giants need you more than you need the Giants. I hope this is discussed. I hope this is brought up. I hope the next time they have a conference about this, about the overall broadcast on radio, that this was bringing up a sore subject to Larry Baer. Larry Baer should never, ever have done this. This was an abomination. It should never have taken place. All right, let's move on. I want to do a semi mea culpa, and that involves KTVU. I guess their programming, not just mornings on 2, but the news was affected by this maintenance issue. Apparently, the signal was all screwed up on KTVU. There was no maintenance, or there was maintenance, no mornings on 2, even no news, and apparently all the result of a maintenance designed by management, by the people who run KTVU, who had to do this. Now, folks, I didn't mean to mock those of you who legitimately brought this up to me, and I said, are you surprised? And I basically belittled your reaction or the fact that this was news. And I must apologize. I was trying to make a point that what station would do this? Are you surprised? KTVU, which has become a flop house, which is not organized, which has no leadership, which has no missive. And I say leadership, an absentee general manager, an absentee rank amateur news director, and they allow this to happen. And I was trying to make the point is this gives you the idea, the fact that they could do this. And as my friend Peter Cleveland pointed out, if there was an FCC, there would have been some pushback about this. A station allowing this maintenance issue, and I don't care how important it was. You don't go off the air. You don't substitute programs like news and information. Ideally, you follow the fact that your main responsibility, all stations, you have a license. You have a license, KTVU, to serve the public. And I'm sorry. There should have been a better way, have all this maintenance done and not sacrifice a mornings on 2 news show or news on Saturday night, which apparently was affected. I didn't see it. I'm hearing about it. You don't do that. You don't sacrifice your viewers' want to watch you, KTVU. Apparently, this is blown up in your face, and it should blow up in your face. And again, folks, I apologize to you who took offense at me sort of poo-pooing this and saying, what do you expect? My derision was not at you folks. Shame on me. I'm sorry about that. I truly am sorry. It was at KTVU. It's just the latest act of a station that used to be a very powerful, heralded legacy station, not just in the Bay Area, but in the entire nation. You know, a station that had great news people, and anchors, and reporters, and people who worked as assignment editors and news directors, and now has become so sad, so out of it. This is the latest. This is the latest embarrassment put forth by KTVU. It should never have happened. There's got to be a way in this modern age of technology and ability to do things like upgrade your maintenance without killing temporarily one of your, I guess, most featured and popular program, even on the weekend. Weekend mornings on 2. And apparently, this involved your nightly news. This is KTVU at what it has become, an embarrassment, unfortunately. And by the way, I know a lot of people at KTVU who work behind the scenes, editors, directors, newsroom personnel. This is not against you. I know you have to endure a lot that you have no control over. And I respect those people who work there, you know what off, so they can bring a quality product to the Bay Area airwaves. And whoever was responsible for allowing this to take place, a maintenance issue, in which case these programs were sacrificed, albeit temporarily, is an abomination. Should never have happened. This is Rich Lieberman. I will be here later in the day. If not, we'll see you on Monday. And thank you for watching. And do subscribe to my channel. And if you can, please make a donation, a contribution to my PayPal so I could continue to give you opinion and scoops and the lowdown on what is taking place in Bay Area media and beyond. Thanks a lot.